He asks, "What are your thoughts on Gladwell's 10,000-hour rule? And would doubling that number mean one would be twice as skillful at a particular occupation, or would there be a plateau?" All I can say is he presented that rule as being fait accompli, but it's completely rubbish, and even he has been compelled to admit that it's rubbish.
It's a made-up number. It's not based on science.
But even the idea that practice is causal on performance is wrong. There is a very strong degree to which you will be good at sport for genetic reasons because you have the appropriate body type or the appropriate kind of mind, or a combination of the two. There was paper a while ago on race and darts. And one of the things you find is that people that are good at darts are overwhelmingly white. And people say, "Oh, well, that's because darts are played in pubs and they are white working class." But that's silly because also people that are good at darts are of Northeast Asian heritage as well. And you get quite a few people who are Indonesian living in the Netherlands. People like Gillet, they're doing well in darts. And there's Lam from Hong Kong. And it's this kind of body build, this more endomorphic body build, which means that you have quite a lot of flexibility in the body, quite a lot of fat basically, and quite a lot of upper body strength that seems to make you good at darts. Yes, there is a certain degree which being good is to do with practice. I mean, someone like Phil Taylor said that his working day, when he wasn't in a tournament, was to get up in the morning and just play darts all day. Have a break at lunch play and then play darts more. And obviously, practice does help, but the idea that if you can just practice anything, you're going to become world class is not the case.
It's interesting to note that the degree to which one is inclined towards practice is itself heritable. There was a very good study published by Guy Madison's group about the psychometric determinants of instrument competence. Specifically, it looked at the degree to which musical practice, so the amount of hours people put into practicing musical instruments, they looked at the degree to which that was heritable and the degree to which it genetically mediated the association, the affinity for practice. And they actually found that when you control for all the genetic covariance, the effect of practice independent of the genetic factors failed completely. The effect of practice completely disappeared. So, it implies that you do need practice to get good at something. Obviously, you're not going to be able to play the piano if you've never learned. However, your interests and what Bouchard and Johnson would call the experience-producing drive. So this is the degree to which your interests kind of crystallize around patterns of reinforcement that come about from having a more fundamental attraction to something. And then you reinforce that by crystallizing knowledge, and that is putting your practice in. The experience-producing drive is highly genetic, and people will practice because they're interested in practicing, because they want to. So the study showed, yes, there was an effect of training on musical expertise. However, there was, in fact, a very, very high level of genetic input to training itself. In other words, the training itself was highly heritable. The degree to which you are willing to apply yourself to perfecting something is largely under genetic control. So Gladwell's argument is utterly backwards.
If they find they're good at it, then of course they'll practice more because they'll get positive experiences. I mean, there was that guy who learned Icelandic in 2 weeks, and he was able to sit on Icelandic TV and have a reasonable conversation in Icelandic, having learned the language for only 2 weeks.
Yes, some people can do that. They have incredibly porous brains, but again, that those affinities are highly genetically constrained. There's no way in which you can make somebody who is absolutely disinterested in music, who doesn't want to practice, who is tone deaf and try to force them to play the piano.
Similarly, there's not a lot you can do about these X Factor, train wreck, audition types who are interested in music and do practice a lot, but are just crap. There's a strong genetic element to whether or not you're going to be good at something. I mean, I was fascinated always when I was at university, and there were all these girls in the philosophy department that would spend ages and ages and ages on their undergraduate dissertations and get firsts in the undergraduate dissertation. And my friend Jerome, who was an alcoholic, dashed off his 12,000 word dissertation in one night after drinking half a bottle of gin and got a first in it too. So that there are these differences, there are these limitations.